Welcome to Monday's Hangxiety. This is your fantasy football therapy session. Let the bitching commence. We're unpacking bad performances from your supposed key players, rookies who have stepped up and continue to make names for themselves, and those unexpected performances that had us all shaking our heads. From heartbreaks to high points, we're here to help you process the chaos, vent your frustrations, and maybe, just maybe, find some hope for next week. So grab your coffee or something stronger. Let's dive into Monday's Hangxiety. Welcome back to Monday's Hangxiety. I am Gator J, and joining me again today to break down the chaos, the heartbreak, and the surprises, as always, my co-host, Ryan Weisse, Josh Hudson. Fellas, how are we doing this morning?
It's great when you roster Saquon Barkley.
I was going to say, I can honestly say, I think this is the worst fantasy Monday of my season. So my home league, I have shit the bed this season. I'm the commissioner. I keep like all the track of the records. I was going to be the first person in league history, 19 years, to make the playoffs 6 years in a row. We've never had it happen. It's a very competitive league. Instead, my team dies. Christian McCaffrey was one of my keepers. He does nothing for me the whole season. So I get McCaffrey back and I still have a shot at the playoffs. And I put up my like two worst scores this week. In a league where it takes usually about 100 points to win, my team scored 54 fucking fantasy points. And so my season's over.
You get crushed by the bye weeks?
No, just crushed.
Oh, that's even worse.
Crushed by a shitty team, plain and simple. Geno Smith didn't do it at quarterback. I had Caleb Williams on my bench. Christian McCaffrey and Rhamondre didn't do it. I did have to start Rhamondre because of bye weeks. George Pickens didn't do it. Cedric Tillman didn't do it. Like literally, you can look at my team over the last 3 weeks and just watch them get worse in fantasy football. So basically what I'm saying is now that I'm done in my home league, I'm pretty well disinterested in fantasy football, and I don't know why you're coming to me for advice. No, I'm joking.
It's all right, people. You still got me.
Wow. Well, then, good morning, Josh. How are you? Jiminy Christmas. What a fucking downer to start the show.
This show's about, right? Thought this was a fucking safe place.
Wow. Oh, good morning, Josh. Fresh off of a Saquon Barkley did something really fucking special last night. Before we get into him, let's pay some bills. Let's talk about Trophy Smack and that partnership we have with them.
Absolutely. All right, check out our sister site, Women of Fantasy Football, and the partnership with Trophy Smack. You can go to trophysmack.com/WOFF. Get all of your achievement-based needs. We're coming up on the tail end of the fantasy football season, so get ready for your championship belts and trophies and rings and customizable wall smack to decorate your office, hallways, kids' rooms, etc. All of that you can find at trophysmack.com/WOFF. That's WOFF. Using that unique affiliate link helps us support women in sports. What we plan to do with this is, we are lucky enough to get passes for NFL media events like the Super Bowl, the NFL draft, the scouting combine. We want to be able to provide these women more than just the passes. We want to be able to help them in their travel expenses. So using that unique link, trophysmack.com/WOFF, that's WOFF, helps us accomplish that goal. So when you're ready to celebrate your wins, celebrate your commissioner, you know what? Even celebrate the loser of your league. Get them something nice to rub it in how much they suck. trophysmack.com/WOFF, WOFF. Don't you worry, Ryan. There might be something in the mail for you.
I'm the loser of my league.
Those loser trophies are pretty damn cool. I got to give it to them. That's pretty cool. But that partnership is freaking awesome. All right. I see a bunch of stuff going on in the chat. Don't you worry. We will get to you each and every single one of you. Don't forget, hit that like, hit that subscribe for us. We are right on the doorstep of 1350. Can you believe that, Josh? That's a huge number
Yeah.
right there. Goal is within sight. Also, if you have any pressing questions for tonight, anybody that you need to find out if you start, sit, whatever, you want to get that answered, throw us a super chat. We will get that up, and you will be first in line before we get to anything else. Ryan, what did we have for yesterday? I mean, it was pretty solid day for the most part.
It was an exciting day of football, plain and simple. So many one-score games, some craziness in overtime, just a lot going on. But it started way back on Thursday. The Browns come back against the Steelers 24-19. Jameis Winston is every kid playing in a snow game ever. Just a great soundbite left and right from Jameis Winston, but the Browns take that one down 24-19. Another division win, which means people are going to be way too hyped, and the Browns are just going to completely send it again on next week. Titans got past the Texans 32-27. Vikings, overtime game 30-27 over the Bears. It was an interesting one. Speaking of interesting, if you turned off the Cowboys Commanders game in the third quarter, you've made a huge mistake. It was 10-9. As the fourth quarter started. The final score of this game with no overtime was 34-26. So Cowboys take that one down in a very interesting game that I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about. Dolphins beat down the Patriots 34-15. Chiefs sneak by, and I do mean that, the Carolina Panthers 30-27. We said that could be a trap game, but at least it was an offensive trap game. The Buccaneers beat the Giants into potentially firing everybody. Who knows what's going on with New York in general right now? Both teams. Buccaneers 30, Giants 7. Ugly game. Lions continue to roll. Best team in the NFL, 24-6 over the Colts. Broncos 29, Raiders 19, Seahawks 16, Cardinals 6. I laugh because I thought this was going to be one of the highest scoring games of the week, and we got the exact opposite. A very ugly game. One of the touchdowns in that game was special teams, or defense, rather. Packers 38, 49ers 10. That's what happens when you lose your quarterback and best defensive pass rusher. And then, as mentioned previously, Saquon Barkley beat the Rams single-handedly, 37-20. The Eagles take down that one. Week 12 finishes up tonight with the Chargers at home against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I just got to touch on that Bucs game real quick. I want to bring this up because Malik Neighbors didn't even see a target to the second half, and it was kind of wild to watch. I thought maybe it was the injury or whatnot, the groin injury that he had. But then they interviewed him after the game, and I don't know if you saw this or not, Ryan or Josh, but as they're interviewing him in front of his locker, he says, "I started getting the ball when it's 30-0.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?"
And
well, then the reporter turns around and asks him, "Why didn't you get the ball in the first half?" He said, "Talk to Dabs about that. Talk to Dabs." The same result when DJ was the quarterback. It's not the fucking quarterback's problem. It's somebody else. And then they asked him, what's the problem? He goes, "Hell, I don't know.
And then Dexter Lawrence, I think it was, piled on. And either Neighbors or Dexter Lawrence flat out said, "I don't think everybody's playing as hard as they can." And it's like, oh boy. So I guarantee with any modicum of certainty, we hear about a Giants players only meeting this week. I fucking guarantee it. Like, it will be.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way in hell this regime survives this season.
You have to fire everybody. Literally everybody.
I mean, it's when you look at, and I get it. Like, the whole thing with Saquon in the offseason, like, we reference this from Hard Knocks. It's hilarious. Especially as an Eagles fan, I go to sleep laughing every night. I fucking love it. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of whether they chose Daniel Jones or chose Saquon Barkley, A, would not be doing this on this Giants team. Let's be real here. But also would not be doing it because they still wouldn't have a quarterback. Plain and simple.
I'm going to go back, though, and I agree. Maybe it's a motivation issue. We've seen good running from the Giants this season. Saquon Barkley could still be having a good season, not the season he's having right now, but a good season. But you are right, Josh. This team is so dysfunctional. Could you imagine being Saquon Barkley and playing as well as he is right now on a team that loses like this? Like, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's out there in Philly. He's having fun. This would not be fun for him on the Giants.
I don't think anyone's had fun in New York since Odell Beckham took all those boys on a boat. So
I was just going to say.
And it's been all downhill ever since.
Yeah. I was just going to say, combined, the New York teams have a 5-win season. They might, they might be 1-2 going into the draft this
and like we saw this from the Giants. Now we thought they were in a good shape with coaching, but like we didn't realize that all the wheels were going to fall off. But we knew general manager was a problem. The fucking Jets fans have to be seconds away from drinking bleach at this point, because you went into this season thinking that Aaron Rodgers was it. And if you listen to this show, me specifically, I would have told you, back up. Like, this is not what you think it is. And I'm telling you, like, a lot of people out there want to defend him. I think Aaron Rodgers is the much bigger part of the problem than anyone wants to say at this point. So, and that's why his ass is about to end up on IR when he's not even hurt.
That's the other thing. I don't know what's going on up there in New York. You wait till the bye week. Until the bye week's over, right? You have 2 weeks basically to either cut whatever you're going to do, but you're going to wait till the end of the bye week, the Monday after the bye week, and then make a decision on your quarterback.
It took him exactly those days to realize there was a problem. Obvious.
God, no, it's a New York problem. It's just whatever it is. It is. All right, let's get to a few of these chat questions. Get everybody involved in the show. Caesar, we will get to this. We will get to this, and we will not apologize.
Me, it's on the docket.
Not happening. Good morning, Caesar. Good morning, George. The absurd pain, losing by 4. Love him, and I know it's an outlier, but Joe Mixon absolutely sold me out this week. Not only did he get himself 11 points, I needed to win. Another TD. What in the hell is going on with Joe Mixon? Ouch. That one hurt.
That offense is hitting a wall. Like, CJ Stroud has really been not good this year, putting it bluntly.
He made some throws yesterday with Nico Collins. I actually meant to get him on the show sheet, and he didn't make it. For things that are going to be fine later, CJ Stroud.
Shout out Daniel Hunter. Josh has got him on the show sheet for some reason. I mean, I know he's an Eagle.
No, I don't.
I thought you did. Did you not?
Well, when do I ever talk defense for starters?
Only time defense made the show sheet is
when Joe Zolo was hosting.
Well, I was going to say, I made sure to mention somebody on that injuries because he deserved to be mentioned in the injuries. So.
On the bright side, my HN trade feels really good. 20 points, 32.
That man is a fucking monster. Plain and simple. Monster.
Yeah. I was going to talk about Tua a little bit later on, but dude, spread the ball around. Why don't you? Very nice job. All right, let's get into these right here. Let's see. Bo Nix is still him. Good matchup. He's matchup proof. Starting against Cleveland this week.
Yeah.
Cleveland isn't a matchup to worry about. Miles Garrett is a player to worry about, but Cleveland is not a matchup to worry about.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think you can sit Bo Nix at this point.
No. Unless you are banking on Miles Garrett murdering this man in the middle of the game, you have nothing to be worried about. So
I mean, he did it to Mason Rudolph. So.
I was gonna say there's and that's not a 0% possibility. But
yeah, don't put that bad juju out there, Ryan. That's not nice. Not nice at all. QB 7 on the year right now for Bo Nix. Loving that, right?
And way better over his last like 7 games or something, like probably QB 3.
Yeah. Caps for life. He's playoff bound, baby.
Go, baby.
Let's go.
So I was going to say his next comment I read quickly, and I thought he was busting our balls saying that we coached him to a 13th place team. And I was like, God damn, this guy is going in. But then I reread it and was like, oh, okay, I feel way better.
Yeah, going from 13th place in a 14-man team, possibly a first round bye, second place.
I mean, we're
a round of applause. Pats on the back, Ryan and Josh.
I say we're happy to help, but like I said, the most important thing I can tell fantasy managers is don't give up. Like it gets ugly. Work the waiver wire, work those trades, and it was a saying I heard a long time ago, and actually the fantasy footballers podcast. Anything done can be undone. If you're 0-5, you could easily go 5-0 over your next few weeks and get fixed. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's factual statement there. I started off 0-4 in my big league and have ripped off seven straight wins. Made a few trades. You know, it's a dynasty league too. But I've made a few trades and put myself in position. I'm second in the league. So there is no give up at all.
Love it.
Cap says, do I stash Devontae Smith? Is he out indefinitely?
He's not out indefinitely. I think it's a hamstring. It's going to be tricky. not worried about it. Smith is still good. He's just a difficult start because the Eagles aren't throwing the football a ton.
Exactly.
Like, I was literally looking at this. A.J. Brown has played 8 games this year. He's only averaging 7 targets a game, which is asinine for A.J. Brown. So, like, if he's only averaging 7, there's not a lot
what
left
does that
on
mean
the
for
pie
everybody else?
for Devonta Smith, right? So, this is kind of the way to look at it. And Ryan, we talk about this a lot on Wiretapped on Tuesday mornings. If you're not going to feel comfortable starting him, you can drop him. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like, you're at a point in your season where you need to feel comfortable with who you start. Plain and simple.
We got to, and not only that,
there's somebody else that you can grab.
I was just going to say, use that bench spot wisely. If you know you're sitting here, Cap, like, I'm never going to play Devonta Smith, and man, I could really use that extra defense. It's going to feel like a crazy cut. This is the time you make those cuts. You're going to see insane players on the waiver wire because people are like, I'm not going to play CJ Stroud against these defenses this week, so I'm going to cut him. And that's the kind of thing that people are going to start doing now, because now it's a 1-week game from now on. Do not focus on the rest of the season. If you don't win next week, it's fucking over. So
yeah, this is where Ryan's going to thrive, because that's how Ryan likes to play Dynasty anyway, is 1 week at a time. So.
100%. And it's coming back to bite me in 2 of my dynasties right now. So.
In Dynasty, you can't play it that way, but redraft, you absolutely can. Austin says he's up 10. His opponent has Justin Tucker. He thinks it's over.
We're going to talk about kickers later, and I wouldn't think it's over, my friend.
No, not at all. Tucker has been human this year. Not inhuman like in years past.
I looked this up last week. I think he only has 3 games with 10+ fantasy points or something like that. It's not that many.
He's through 12 games, or really 11 games because they play tonight. He has missed the same amount of kicks that he missed all of, I think it was the last 2 years combined, or all of last year, something along those lines. Like, Justin Tucker has not been a good kicker this year, plain and simple.
Yeah, he's only got 5 games this year above 10 points. So
so it's literally a 50-50 chance, and recent play would tell you it's less than that, because in 4 of his last 5 below that number. Yeah.
Well, 3 of the last 4 6 points max. So it's not out of the question. Austin cuts back and he says he had to go up against Chase when he dropped 55, and now Barkley, the worst luck.
Yeah. Can you let me know who you're playing next week so I know who to pick up in my rankings?
Ouch.
Caps, Nick's bald, Achan bald, Jacobs bald, McBride bald, JSN bald, Abdullah bald, except production. Excellent.
I was telling Marley, I said, we actually gave some people advice to start Amir Abdullah this week, and I feel pretty good about that. So.
Yeah. Because I'm like, if I score 155, Justin Tucker, I'm gonna have to sell the team.
That's fair.
Oh, good Lord. Well, let's get over to the birthday shots. Rookies with big, I'm sorry, let's not do that yet. Is it? Yeah, that's where we're at. Birthday shots, rookies with big games. Bucky Irving, 12 for 87 and a touchdown. Bigger number for him, 6 for 6 in the passing game. A season high 20% target share for Bucky Irving yesterday. Outsnapped White for the first time this season and ran more routes, 20-11. Both had 12 carries. Not bad. The Bucks just
that is bad, motherfucker.
No, that is bad.
No. Well,
I was gonna say, Jay, you're stealing all my notes here, and I'm not happy about it.
Well, I figured I was gonna be like Joe and just start reading. You don't like that? Wait, I thought me and Joe was like the same person.
Yeah, that's how it goes, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes. Well, okay, then tell me about Bucky Irving, Josh.
No, like, I want to get excited about this. I do. Because when you look at all these numbers, they're great. As you said, he outsnapped Rachaad White. He ran more routes than Rachaad White. Mm-hmm. He had more than double the yards per carry on the same number of carries. But this was a blowout. So I don't know if this is a trend. That's the problem.
So I don't believe it's going to be the 12 carries, which, yes, I understand, Ryan, that's a little bit low, but I also look at it like it was a blowout.
They're splitting carries. Like, that's been a thing now for the better part of a month.
But if you look at the first half of the game, Rachaad White was invisible. right? This was the epitome of
so White actually took the blowout steps.
Let me save Bucky for these next. Because if you look at the Bucs schedule over the next couple of weeks, it is the easiest schedule in the NFL, and the Falcons are not looking that great. Coming off of a bye this week. So this is the epitome of let's save Bucky and not get him hurt. Fuck Rachaad White.
Millie was already calling you out for getting way too excited about this game.
No, I wasn't getting excited about the game. If we couldn't blow out the Cutlets, and by the way, if you didn't see Baker Mayfield,
that Baker celebration was fire.
So oddly enough, like I've been writing the show sheet in my head since yesterday's games, and I forgot to write it down. I wanted to talk about Baker because I think we forgot how big of a dick Baker is until that yesterday.
Oh, he's a straight up troll, and I love it. Yeah, I fucking love it.
Just to add on, after the post-game interview with Baker Mayfield, he was asked, "Are you Italian?" And his quote was, "I have not done 23andMe yet, so I don't know."
Perfect. Could be.
If that's not Baker Mayfield, it sums up Baker Mayfield for me.
I love it.
Jaden Daniels, 25 of 38, 274, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 7 carries for 74 yards. Not too shabby. Fourth top 10 finish, first in his last 8 games, though. Caleb Williams, 32 of 47, 340, 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversion, 6 carries, 33 yards. That is his third top 10 finish, all in the last 7 games. And then we would just be remiss if this guy is not on the show sheet like every fucking week going forward. Bo Nix, 25 of 42, 273, 2 touchdowns, a carry for 5 yards, 5 top 10 finishes, all in the last 8 games.
I think Bo Nix is a veteran at this point. I don't even think we can include him here anymore.
I was gonna say the dude's 29 years old. It feels like so.
Yeah.
Do we all owe Bo Nix an apology? Is probably the question because
I was gonna say I don't think so. Specifically at Club Fantasy, I don't think anyone was down on Bo Nix. We really bought into that.
We were teasing him, calling him Bo Picks early in the season, but I mean he earned it. He was
that's because Joe Zolo's a dick. So, I was in on him because I was in on the efficient quarterback in a Sean Payton system. And it took some time, which is not surprising, but it's working. So.
I want to bring up George's comment right here. He's 6-6, tied for a three-way tie for 7, 8, 9th place. Needs to be top 8 to make the playoffs. Must win this week. Nico and Mixon on bye. Week 14 will be a long shot. It won't be a long shot if you open up the YouTube app tomorrow morning about 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And start listening to these two talk about waiver wire. So just calm down. It's not over.
Yeah, I'll be able to solve your quarterback problem with no issue. Like once my streams of the week hit, now your Nico Collins problem. That's a waiver wire show problem.
There you go. George says, do you trust the Rams against the Saints this week, or should you go Colts or New England? Or Colts versus New England?
I have not dug into defense at all yet. Like literally, that's what I start that process today. If I'm choosing between these two right now, I'll go with the Rams. But right now, honestly, neither one of them is very appealing to me.
Yeah, I was going to say the Rams defensive front, like even they were getting through with Philly. Like they sacked Jalen Hurts, I think it was 3 times. Those rookies, Verse and Fisk from Florida State, like they've been doing some work on that line for them. So, and that's really what you're looking for with defenses, right? Is turnovers and sacks. If they can get one of them, great. They're going to get you some sacks. So,
yeah,
I think I would lean that way. The Colts defense, I think, is really hit or miss. But again, that New England offensive line is so bad. You could see some good game. You could see a good game out of the Colts.
There's a lot of problems in that building as well after yesterday.
Yep.
Ryan, this is for you. He's going to help you out here. He's playing Etienne, McCaffrey, Puka, Evans, Jonathan Taylor. One of them are going for 40, he says. So,
100%.
Awesome.
I'll put my money on Etienne out of this list. Who do the Dolphins play next week? I need to know this now.
if Brandon Allen's
they got the Packers on Thanksgiving. Dial it up, baby. Holiday special.
If Brandon Allen's playing, Christian McCaffrey might not go for 40 yards.
Is Bucky a must start at this point? He's sat in for JK this week, probably going to lose because of it.
Oh, don't be so down on JK. It's a revenge game. I think you could see JK match what Bucky did. Don't worry too much about that. Depends on your running backs, but Bucky is firmly in the high-end RB3 conversation, probably pushing into RB2. So
I think he's in the high-end RB2 conversation at this point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
if they're going to use
limited touches side of things, but again, if what Jay is telling us is right, that it was White taking more of the blowout snaps, that tells me that Bucky is going to be that much more involved in the passing game.
If they're going to use him in the passing game.
If they use him in the passing game, he's got RB1 upside, plain and simple.
100%. He's Devon Achane light, to be perfectly honest, the way he plays the game. So,
well, that's the thing, though, right? Is you look at the last, he's had 4 games this season, I believe it is 4 games, 3 games, maybe it was less than 10 fantasy points. Not a huge thing, but when you look at the last 4 games, 7 targets, 7 catches, 3 targets, 3 catches, 3 targets, 3 catches, 6 yesterday, and 6. So
and he's so shifty,
more involved. Exactly. Oh, and when you have a blocking quarterback like Baker Mayfield running down the field.
I do have to say it's pretty awesome that the 2 most athletic quarterback plays this week were Baker Mayfield on that block and Jameis Winston coming in on that fumble. So congrats to the Browns for breeding some hard-nosed quarterback play.
Well, whoa. You got to remember. You got to remember where Jameis.
Oh, that's true. I could be giving credit to the Bucs. I didn't even think about this. That essentially, the Browns have traded Baker Mayfield for Jameis Winston in the longest trade process in NFL history.
Yes, that's right. That is right. Let's see. We got one more right here. Seriously though, I have Chase Brown, James Cook, Brian, Bijan, Pacheco, Kenneth Walker. I need to trade one of these running backs because I can't start them all. Who would you trade to try to upgrade at wide receiver?
If people are buying Pacheco, I'm making that trade right now. I've been right about this. I've been right about the Jonathan Brooks thing. I was right about something else where I told you these people weren't going to play. Dak Prescott. I called that 2 weeks before they put him on IR. Isaiah Pacheco, if he plays, and I'm still telling you, if is a possibility here, he is going to be limited and split with Kareem Hunt. He's not coming into the backfield he left. If people are buying Pacheco, sell Pacheco.
Yeah, that would be the one that I would sell from this too. If people aren't buying Pacheco, I'm okay selling James Cook out of this group.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
I think Walker has much more upside. Bijan is a top 6 RB on the season, and Chase Brown's usage has been.
Yeah, I think Bijan and Brown are must starts, and Walker is the perfect backup. Cook and Pacheco are your expendable features here.
I agree.
I was going to ask both of you about Chase Brown here because, yes, I understand the usage is there, but when you look at his schedule, he's got Pittsburgh, of course, then at Dallas, at Tennessee, Cleveland, Denver.
Chargers were a tough matchup, and he still did well. He didn't score a touchdown like I told you he wouldn't, but he still 55 yards and like 35 receiving yards, 6 catches or something like that. It may not have been that high, but regardless, it wasn't a terrible game against the Chargers, and they were a negative matchup. So
that's true. All right, so let's move over to the unnecessary shots of Rumpleman's key injuries from the week. Brian Robinson came back in the game after hurting his ankle, but then went back out. Jatavion Sanders, who we were all super high on, 3 for 3 yesterday for 40-something yards in the first half, goes out with a neck injury. He was taken to the hospital, released from the hospital yesterday afternoon. Gardner Minshew, broken collarbone. David Montgomery has a shoulder issue. Romeo Doubs, concussion. If he doesn't get any worse for Washington in the backfield, Austin Eckler now has a concussion, so both of their backs are down. Josh Downs has a shoulder issue, and then
he also has an Anthony Richardson issue, but that's another conversation.
Super fair. That's so fair. And I guess Josh needs to pull one out for Brandon Graham, who is done for the year.
I got that alert, and I visibly sobbed. I was going to say,
Brandon Graham,
that dude was awesome yesterday. And he's straight up awesome.
And he's been awesome for how many years? Brandon Graham is my second favorite Eagle ever behind Donovan McNabb. Like, that kid has been, he's not a kid anymore, but he has been busting his ass in Philadelphia for 12 years now? I don't know what it is, but Josh, I'm not incorrect. This was well known. This was his retirement tour, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of talk that this was going to be his last year. That was the narrative at the beginning of the season. But as this season has gone on, he's started to be like, you know what? Maybe I can do one more year.
Okay.
And, he might be in a position where he doesn't want to go out this way. So he does end up coming back. But, we'll see how the season goes. But yeah, that's a tough loss. I mean, he was really the leader of the defensive
100%.
ends. It's a lot of young pass rushers. Josh Sweat has been fantastic, really kind of growing under Brandon Graham's wings over the last.
Well, that's what I was
few
gonna say.
years
Ever
anyway.
since Fletcher Cox stepped away, they need Brandon Graham on that line.
And Nolan Smith has turned up. Bryce Huff, their free agent acquisition, has been dog shit. He was just put on IR as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the interior too, like Milton Williams was awesome yesterday too. Jalen Carter's a beast, but he was the veteran. He's the guy that everybody looked up to. So this is a big loss for this team. And I still remember how much shit Brandon Graham was getting early in his career because he wasn't doing for the Eagles what Jason Pierre-Paul was doing for the Giants, and everybody was like, "Oh, the Eagles took the wrong end." Blah blah blah. Who's had the better career? Let's be real. Just saying.
Great investment by the Eagles. Great player.
I don't know if you saw the graphic that they put up last night, but there was it was 17 plays Jalen Carter was involved in, and 15 of them he was double cover, or double. They were doubling, so it was.
The kid is a monster. I just want to know if the 17 plays is scheme, if it's conditioning, because there was that whole thing when he was
early. This was early in
the
first.
Oh, okay. So you don't mean that he only played 17 plays? No. Okay, I did not watch the game because I just remember the big knock on him coming out of Georgia was his limited play counts. So.
All right, we got a couple more questions in the chat that we'll get to, and then we will fire the show. Quincy says, getting ready for the playoffs. I'm not a Bijan owner, but I got Algier. Who would you rather have, Jordan Mason or Algier, in case of a Bijan injury or a McCaffrey injury?
I think the 49ers are mismanaging this Jordan Mason situation. When he got in last night, he looked fucking good, but right now it's Algier because he is getting in regardless of what's going on with the starter. So
yeah, I was going to say Algier is actually operating independent of the starter. So just imagine if the starter goes down, he's going to have all that and his role. So
yeah, we've seen Algier be an RB1 in fantasy football. So
yep.
Not that we haven't from Mason, just not while McCaffrey's healthy. So
correct.
Very, very true. Is Saquon the first player ever to become pick 101 in fantasy again after losing it?
No, I can tell you that right now. Christian McCaffrey, if you remember all those great years from Carolina, and then was basically hurt for 2 straight years, did what he did in San Francisco, everybody was picking him 101 this year.
Yeah.
Barkley will probably be the 101 next year, but yeah.
Quincy says start 2 next week. I tell you this before I'll read the question off and let the guys answer, but check out Saturday morning. The guys have been killing it Saturday morning.
Yeah, start sits on Monday when I haven't even started my rankings yet.
Yeah,
right.
Bucky Pollard, Pacheco, Hunt, Tracy, or Brooks. Well, I'm going to go ahead and scratch off Brooks.
It ain't Brooks.
It ain't Brooks.
Yeah, right. 5 snaps out of 60 for the running backs.
I have to do a complete about face. You cannot start a single New York Giant right now. I love Tyrone Tracy. Honestly, the only starting Giant right now might be Theo Johnson if you're streaming tight end, because you can't trust anybody else, and at least at tight end you expect to take a 0. If Pacheco's out, Hunt is a must start. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If Pacheco is playing, it's your first 2. So right now my advice is Bucky and Pollard.
Yeah, I mean, Bucky against the Panthers feels like a lock. Pollard's been hot. Commanders' run defense is hit or miss, but yeah, I think that's where I go. Bucky and Pollard.
Unless Pacheco's out.
Monday, it could very well change.
Unless Pacheco's out, and then I'll put Hunt in over Pollard. Bucky's the start, though.
I do like Tracy's matchup next week against Dallas. Dallas does give up a bunch on the ground, but when you have that option, give me the first 2 there. All right, let's get into the shot of espresso. Quality performances. They got the juices flowing yesterday, and Josh, you are up.
Yeah, I was strongly debating last night after the Eagles game to put Saquon on this thumbnail, and it would have been very well warranted because let's be honest, he was really fucking good.
Yep.
but we featured him back in week 3, and I like to kind of mix things up a little bit. Josh Jacobs was a dog yesterday. 3 rushing touchdowns, 26 carries, 106 yards, which, by the way, Saquon had the exact same number of carries.
And
255. I just want to throw that out there. But regardless, this is what I love, though, about Josh Jacobs. In 4 of his last 5 games, he has hit 20-plus fantasy points. He is getting going at the right time. This is a guy that over his career, he has shown the ability to handle large workloads at the running back position and carry teams, not just real-life NFL teams, but also fantasy teams. He is currently the RB9 in total points, and at 16.5 points per game, he's the RB11. Now, I want to bring up something from the preseason because I got a lot of shit about this when I had Josh Jacobs as my RB6. People said I was fucking high. I'm looking pretty fucking good right now. Just throwing that out there. But again, his play style is built for Green Bay. Straight up. He's a guy that can carry the rock. Cold weather is not going to bother him. This team wants to run the football. Only 3 times this year has Josh Jacobs hit 20 or more carries, which, considering how he plays, that feels very off. But if he's doing it now, imagine what December is going to look like, because Green Bay is showing that they want to run the football. This is where Josh Jacobs is going to shine. He's going to finish as the top 6 RB this year.
I got nothing to say. That's all.
If you want to, I have no issue tooting my own horn. Back in week 7, I think it was, I told you guys this no touchdown thing wasn't going to continue, and it certainly has regressed the other way, the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, I want to give everybody a little bit behind the scenes. I was texting with Josh and Ryan yesterday. I'm like, okay, who's going to be the thumbnail? Is it going to be Tua or is it going to be Josh Jacobs? No way did I expect Saquon Barkley to go off for a 50 burger. Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. About 11:15 last night, I'm like, he's just going to change it and put Saquon on there. I know he is.
And again, I almost did, but I featured 2 equals already on thumbnail on this, like, for this show. And I like to mix things up a little bit. Like, and it's not like I'm putting somebody bad on the thumbnail. Like, Josh Jacobs was RB2 on the week. Like, he was the RB1 before last night. So,
Ryan, who's your first guy?
Yeah, the chat already came for us, so I missed the mark on that one. But I figured we need to get out ahead on this Jaylen Waddle thing. This is a very anti-Jaylen Waddle show, a very anti-Jaylen Waddle website. But you know what? He got it done in week 12, especially to get it done this week. He's going to win a lot of people's hearts this week, and then he's going to lose them a lot of fantasy playoff matchups in a couple of weeks. He's the wide receiver 3 this week, 8 catches, 144 yards, and a touchdown. It only took Tua Tagovailoa's best game of the season for Jaylen Waddle to be a thing, but it was 28 fantasy points. We're going to take the L this week, but we are not going to take the L overall. This man is still, after this week, the wide receiver 40 in fantasy football. As I mentioned, 28 fantasy points this week. Coming into this week, in 10 games, he had 80 fantasy points total. So he has now put up over 25% of his production in 1 week. We cannot expect this every week. I went back and looked at like old Tua stats because I was like, okay, is this a thing? In his rookie year, Tua did not have a 4-touchdown game. In his second year, he had a 6-touchdown game. In 2022, he had a 4-touchdown game. In 2023, he had 1 4-touchdown game. In 2024, he now has 1 4-touchdown game. He doesn't do it twice, folks. This is not who Tua is. This is not who Jaylen Waddle is. Enjoy it. But he is not a league winner, Caesar. He is a league loser, and this is what he's going to do to you guys. I'm warning you now.
Yeah, Jaylen Waddle had a 22.5% target share, I believe it was.
Yes,
and it was 9 targets because Tua threw for 40. That's the most pass attempts he's had in a season. And oh, by the way, Jaylen Waddle did not lead the team in targets. That would be Jonnu Smith at 11. It's a blip on the radar, people. Yeah. He has not scored 10 plus fantasy points in a game since week 1. Pump the brakes, but enjoy it this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy it this week. I'll give you this. The Dolphins target share and fantasy points per game since Tua was returned in week 8. Okay. Jonnu Smith for his first 20% target share, averaging 15 points. Tyreek Hill, 18.8% target share, averaging 13 points. Devon Achane, 16.5% target share, averaging 22 points. Now I'll tell you about Jaylen Waddle, 15% target share, still only averaging 11 points, 0.8 points per game. And I brought this up pre-show with Ryan. Jaylen Waddle has 2 100-yard games receiving. Ironically, they're the same 2 games, week 1 and then, of course, week 12 yesterday, that Tua has a 300-yard passing game. Take it for what it is. I think if you have Waddle, this is the time to go in, put him out there.
I normally do my best, and Josh knows a couple Tuesdays ago it got away from me. I do my best not to be mean to our viewers. When Jaylen Waddle sucks in weeks 14 through 17, I am going to be intolerable on this show. Just throwing that out there.
We just need to be intolerable to him. Caesar.
Exactly.
Caesar. One of our faithful
exactly
watchers and listeners. So hopefully, Caesar, you'll be able to take that with a grain of salt. We love you. Josh, who is your next guy?
Saquon Barkley, baby.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, right. I feel like I always cop out on some of these because I'm always like, oh, he's RB1 this week, tight end 1, the wide receiver, whatever. But as an Eagles fan, I'm never going to get tired of seeing Saquon just absolutely go bonkers, especially after the Giants and their hard knocks in the I'm not. You're not going to live it down. I'm sorry, Giants fans, you're not going to live it down. This is the beginning of the end, if it wasn't already the end. But this, we've had some really good running backs in the history of the Eagles. This week, last night, Sunday night, Saquon set the Eagles franchise record for rushing yards in a game at 255. And the record for most scrimmage yards in a game at 302. I talked earlier about my projections in the offseason with Josh Jacobs. I knew that I was too low on Saquon. I had him as my RB5, and I fucking knew it. Already through 11 games, he has blown past what I projected for him from a rushing yards perspective. He is averaging 6.2 yards per carry, which truthfully should have been fathomable considering how good the Eagles' offensive line is. But he is at 1,392 yards through 11 games. This is already Saquon's career high. And there's 6 games left to go. Would you be shocked if he doesn't rush for 2,000 yards at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the way he's going, he's getting stronger. And as Josh already pointed out, the weather's about to turn into running back weather. So,
and the Eagles don't have a road game past Philly the rest of this season. It's all going to be in that Northeast area. Yep. That's cold weather. This is where running back shine. Saquon is from this area. People talked in the offseason that he could have that CMC to San Francisco type impact. I didn't see this because CMC couldn't rush for 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
But this was the stat that I found great, and I found this on JJ Zacharyason's data dump from this morning. 5 times this season, Saquon Barkley has topped 30 fantasy points. Since 2011, there are only 3 other running backs that have done that and more in a season. And oddly enough, it wasn't CMC in San Francisco. But in 2019, CMC did it 8 times in Carolina. Todd Gurley in 2018 did it 7 times. And David Johnson back in 2016 did it 6 times. Again, there are still 6 games left to go. This is an all-time season right now for Saquon. And I'll bring up what Esteban says here. He's so dynamic, even as a pass catcher. He had 4 catches for 47 yards yesterday. Saquon is him straight up. And I'm basking in it. Just basking.
Yeah, you should. I looked this morning, MVP odds on ESPN Bet. He's at plus 600. He's fourth behind Josh Allen at plus 135, Lamar Jackson at plus 300, Jared Goff at plus 550.
But see, this is what I find just hilarious to me. We always talk about like the MVP has turned into a quarterback award.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson won the MVP last year. Is he better this year? Sure. Why is he better? Derrick Henry. So is Lamar really that much more valuable than Derrick Henry at this point?
So wait. So what you're telling me is Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, they aren't they both running backs? I thought running backs didn't matter.
Yeah. Well, you know why they matter? Because the league has become so pass happy that they're going into these nickel and dime packages as base with smaller defenders, and dynamic running backs can run all over them. Plain and simple.
It's also an era. I'm running through my head, and someone's going to correct me in the chat, or one of you two, because I tend to forget these things. But have we ever seen elite rushing quarterback, elite running back on the same team? Like Vic never had an elite running back. Cam never had an elite running back.
Not true. He had Shady McCoy and Philly.
Well, and Cam and CMC played together, right?
Yep.
No. Well, you also had
but that worked out for Carolina when Cam and CMC
with Cam.
Who was it?
Williams and
those aren't elite. They were good. They fit the bill. Yeah, like I said. So yeah, I'm a little wrong there. But like I said, just to see guys at the top of their game at two positions running the ball is changing things right now. So
yeah, I mean, and you look at how Philly's season dovetailed last year. And again, it's not like DeAndre Swift was a bad running back by any means, but like there's Saquon is bringing so much more to this offense. They're able to control the games. And again, they're playing lights out defense. They've been absolutely fantastic. But it's all set up because of what Saquon is able to do. He has transformed this offense.
Yeah, I had this in my notes for later on, but the Saquon thing is just so, you can't not bring it up. 6-player NFL history to have multiple rushing touchdowns of 70-plus yards per game, and the first one since 2009, Maurice Jones-Drew. Insane.
Nuts.
All over the field. Maybe that's why we can't talk about AJ Brown and Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert, because it's all Saquon Barkley. That's all they need. They don't need anybody else on that team.
Yeah.
Insane. Ryan, who's your next guy?
Sorry, I got caught up on the chat. Go fuck yourself, James Donnelly. Caleb Williams, a guy who I've been down on. And again, this is why he's in this section and not the I hope it gets better in the future section. But leads the league in passing yards this week, 340 yards, also hit on 2 touchdowns. QB4 on the week. There is hope for 2025. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that need to change in Chicago. And we saw that again on the very first drive of overtime. Caleb Williams busts his ass to get this game to overtime. And then the O-line and Caleb Williams let the team down in that first drive and cost them the win. Again, they've got to protect this kid. But now your worry is, do they go the Joe Burrow route and sacrifice everything, building an offensive line around Caleb that just kills the rest of the team? So,
Josh?
No, I really don't have much more to add to that. Caleb looked good for most of the game yesterday, but I mean, you're going to have these, rookie mistakes. The team needs a lot of work, straight up, plain and simple.
I do like some of the changes they've made on the offense since the new OC Thomas Brown came in there. When you look at the target shares over the last couple of weeks, you've had back-to-back weeks where last week it was Rome Odunze, and then this week Keenan Allen with the 30% target share. Don't know who's it going to be. It's kind of like the Green Bay, right? It's kind of like Green Bay. We don't know which one we're going to play or which one we're going to, but neither does the defense. So that could be a good thing for NFL. Maybe.
And that's kind of what we thought was going to happen in this season. Mm-hmm. Now Rome Odunze seeing all these targets. Keenan Allen's had 2 good games the whole season. DJ Moore finally finds the end zone. You just don't know what you're going to get. And we thought that was going to be a good thing. Turns out it's a fucking terrible thing. You hate every bit of that outside of DeAndre Swift.
Second straight week for Odunze getting a 10-plus target. So, we thought that was going to be a connection with him and Williams.
I thought it was going to be next year, and we're seeing it early, which is why
earlier.
Again, it's why I'm excited for 2025. I'm not going to give up on this kid yet, but we all also know I also don't give up on people very easily, and it usually bites me squarely in the ass.
It's okay, Ryan. You and I'll bring up a guy later on that you and I have been since the beginning of this year not giving up on.
Yeah.
And it finally came to fruition yesterday.
Yep.
Josh, who's your next guy?
I'm going to make this quick, but Trey McBride was the tight end 1 on the week. He has not caught a touchdown all season. If he scored 4 touchdowns, he would be the tight end 1. And he's currently sitting as the tight end 3. I don't know what to make, if this is just how bad the tight end position is, or if this is just how good Trey McBride is. But I got to show some love to Trey McBride because, in my opinion, he's been really fucking awesome. And this is why I wasn't so hype on the Cardinals offense and Kyler Murray this year when everybody else was banging that drum. This is still a team that needs to learn how to score touchdowns. We're seeing it by the fact that Trey McBride has 0 all season.
Yep. 1. And he fell on that fumble. He fell on that fumble recovery.
I think 0 receiving touchdowns.
I think they counted as a rushing touchdown.
Damn. All right, finish up this segment here, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll be quick as well. Jordan Addison, wide receiver 1 this week so far, 8 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown. But I want to see it in a game where he and J. Jeff both go off, and that just seems like right now in his career, that's not what's happening. J. Jeff was held in check this week. It seems when I was looking at Jordan Addison, he has 2 or 3 of these pop games every season. And yes, it's only 2 seasons, but still, when he is on, he looks so good. I was watching that game yesterday and was like, my God, why don't they get this kid the ball more? And then you remember, like, they have Justin Jefferson. They don't need to. And that's what worries me. We talked about this earlier in the show. Is Jordan Addison just going to be another Devonta Smith? Like, Devonta Smith could be a wide receiver 1 on most teams in this league, but he's happy to just take the back seat to A.J. Brown, the alpha, on most weeks. And that's kind of what we're dealing with in Minnesota. Sam Darnold is never going to be the guy to unlock multiple wide receivers. It's going to be interesting to see if J.J. McCarthy can add a new facet to this offense next season. But again, that's going to be a hurry up and wait situation. But Jordan Addison, hell of a week. I just don't bank on it.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up one guy. Ryan, you and I have been supporting this guy from day one.
Yep.
Well, this year. I was out on him last year.
I wasn't, and I look like an asshole for it. So.
Yeah, this year I was pretty high on him, and it hasn't come to fruition. But Bryce Young yesterday, man, going up against that KCD, stood in there, ended up being QB 12, his first QB1 week since week 16 of last year. 21 to 35, 264, a touchdown, 3 carries for 20 yards. This is why I wanted to talk about him, though. Per Next Gen Stats, Young was blitzed on a season high 40% of his dropbacks versus the Chiefs yesterday. 11 of 14, 123 yards, and a touchdown on those dropbacks.
Yeah.
9.6 yards per attempt.
And he lost his best receiver in the second quarter. We're going to talk about that later. This could have been a very, very different game. I'm just throwing that out there. So.
And the Chiefs squeaked it out.
Yeah.
So give Bryce Young his props. I am. Not saying it's gonna, they've got the Bucks coming up 2 games, so maybe this was just a blip on the radar. But if this is what we're gonna see the last 2 weeks, we've seen him not turn the ball over, throwing interceptions. He's throwing touchdowns. This ain't a very good team, but they're giving him the opportunity now. Maybe this is the new thing to do in the NFL. Let these young quarterbacks actually sit down for a couple weeks, maybe a year.
I know it's such a foreign concept. Like, wow, a young quarterback needs time to mature and grow and learn the system.
Right?
Watch JJ McCarthy come in next year and just fucking ball. Though I do have to say, Bo Nix begs to differ.
Well, I mean,
that just means he's gonna hit a CJ Stroud like slump next year. So.
Exactly.
Oh boy, let's get into a couple of more of these chat questions. My whole roster this week gave me production points, but no TDs except for Kupp and Love. I'm up 20 with Henry left. Well, you're getting a touchdown or 2 tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, it shouldn't be much of a worry. Try getting no production and no touchdowns. It goes way worse. Trust me.
Yeah, right.
Speaking from experience, man. I think the Eagles' entire D has stepped up since the bye week.
Number 1 defense in the league since week 6.
Yeah, spark lit under them without a doubt.
Cooper DeJean, baby. You put that man in the starting lineup, great things happen.
Oh. As Joe likes to bring up, the white corners are alive in Philly.
I was going to say, let's be clear. Quinion Mitchell is no fucking joke.
Yeah. Well, and that was my big thing with going against the Rams. Like, they've got a good offense. They have great receivers in Puka and Kupp. Like, I knew that they were going to get after him, right? Yeah. And Quinion Mitchell, he gave up a couple of plays, but he was draped all over these guys. And it was just a fantastic throw, fantastic catch. Like, you can't be mad about that. No. He is playing absolutely lights out football. And Cooper DeJean is everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about him last week. Quinion Mitchell is just a stud.
Yeah.
A stud. Joey says, as a McCaffrey owner, I'm very concerned about his upside. Are you worried about him at all rest of the season?
How could you not be? They're not using him in the running game. He's at least being used in the passing game, but you need Brock Purdy back. They're saying week 13, Purdy should be back. But guess what? They said the same thing about McCaffrey. So I don't know how much I trust anything coming out of the 49ers mouth right now. So
yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried. I don't think he has that like top 5 upside.
That's the problem. Hope, you're not getting what you drafted him for.
Yeah.
So
well, he's not scoring touchdowns. That's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't trust him. Evidently, the 49ers came out yesterday during the broadcast that Brandon Allen had a broken finger.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
It was never on any of the injury reports. And he was shown walking around with a
enormous on his finger. And then he fumbled the ball.
That's just Kyle Shanahan needing to make excuses for why his team fucking sucks.
I'm wondering after the, you remember week 1 with the whole Christian McCaffrey won't start on Monday night 5 minutes before the game. If this is going to become a thing and all of a sudden there's going to be a fine.
I will not be the least bit surprised if the 49ers lose draft picks at the end of the season. They have mismanaged that this season. So,
Joseph says, is Tyreek a buy, sell, or hold in Dynasty?
I think he's got to be a hold just because.
I was going to say, it's hard to call him a buy.
You can sell him, great, but you're definitely not buying him. I can tell you that.
Remember, he's all but confirmed he's probably done after this contract. I don't know how much you can really believe all that, but it's something he has said is that this was likely going to be his last contract. If you can sell him. Otherwise, I'm not buying Tyreek Hill. It's not like I'm on a championship run. I need Tyreek Hill. Don't make that mistake. So,
yeah, you need a Jaylen Waddle type of game from yesterday, to be able to sell him. Otherwise, you're holding him because it is what it is with him.
Yeah.
Anything else in the chat we need to hit on before we move over to the migraine of the week?
I think that's it.
Let's go with migraine. The worst in a hangover, the underwhelming performance that is a prelude to what is to come. Josh, we'll start with you.
For me, it's Rhamondre Stevenson, and I bring this up specifically because Ryan and I have been fighting about this for about 3 weeks. And he said, do you hate touchdowns? Well, guess what? Motherfucker ain't scored a touchdown in 3 weeks.
Wah, wah.
Look, at the end of the day, his line sucks. The offense sucks. He can't get moving. Before this week, 4 of his last 5 weeks, he has hit 20, or 3 of his last 4 games, he's hit 20 carries. He had 8 this week for 13 yards. Only twice this season has Rhamondre Stevenson topped 4 yards per carry. And again, he hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 weeks. I cannot stress this enough. We talked about volume being a thing. Again, last month or so of the season, it's been there. This week, I don't think it's a blip on the radar. He was outrushed by Antonio Gibson. This team really isn't going anywhere. And I understand that they gave Gibson a 3-year contract. They re-upped and Rhamondre Stevenson. But this rushing offense can't do anything with the state of this offensive line.
Correct.
Those contracts are for 2025, in my opinion. Plain and simple.
Yeah, 100%.
He has not exceeded 5 targets in a game at all. 35 targets on the season. He's averaging just over 3 targets per game. And we thought he would be more heavily involved in the passing game.
That's been the rub on Rhamondre is ever since the last year with the Bill O'Brien, like they just stopped throwing to their running back all of a sudden. So I don't know.
He's the RB 22 in total points. He's an RB 3 in points per game. RB 28. Bucky Irving in a timeshare has scored more fantasy points. than Rhamondre Stevenson.
Let's just pop this up on the screen right now because we're talking about it as quickly as possible. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I didn't have you can trade Rico Dowdle in a dynasty league,
I'll trade both.
Get somebody. Well, but this is what I'm getting at. If you can trade Rico Dowdle and get a premium running back in dynasty in Jonathan Brooks, I don't care whether you have Chuba or not. He's going to get slowly worked into this offense. 5 snaps, not great. It's his first game. I'm not that worried about it. But again, aging, inefficient running backs for promise, I'm going to take 100 times out of 100.
Essentially, with Jonathan Brooks, you're resetting the clock on Rhamondre Stevenson. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
And Joel and I have a show scheduled for next week that we're going to talk about some of these rookies and sophomores that you should be stashing in dynasty. And Brooks is definitely on that list.
100%.
Caesar, please check us out in a couple weeks when we go over that as well, because that's going to be a fun one to talk about, because I don't even care at this point what Brooks did yesterday.
Exactly.
You're taking 2 darts and putting them into one. You're saving a roster spot and saying the hell with these 2 guys right here. So yes, that's absolutely a smash done deal.
When I am ripping Brooks, I am ripping 2024 redraft Jonathan Brooks.
Correct.
I will buy Jonathan Brooks in every single dynasty. In fact, now that I know that there are trades that are being considered like that, I know what I'm doing in my Monday afternoon is making Jonathan Brooks trade.
No. You have to start looking at next week's games. You can't worry about trading.
Yeah, right.
Why is
Ryan doesn't know how to play for 2025?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why is my phone already going off trade?
Yeah, anybody who has Brooks, get ready for some notifications.
That's it. Ryan, who's your guy or guys?
I was gonna say, I just wanted to kind of pour some water on all the kicker love we've been giving this entire season. It's been
welcome to the dark side.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic season, but they reminded us, and it was 3 guys who kind of reminded us why we hate kickers this week. The missed PAT by Austin Seibert in his first game back was just whatever the opposite of poetic justice
but that
is.
that meme is gonna be great.
Yeah, his eyes bulged out of his head. That was his second missed PAT of the day, and he also missed a field goal. So full on, Austin Seibert lost that game. But Austin Seibert didn't just lose that game, because I wanted to throw something out there. Do you guys know when Austin Eckler got hurt? On the last unnecessary kickoff, he ran that ball into the mouth of the Dallas special teams head first and rocked his body on the last play of the game. So Austin Seibert also hurt Austin Eckler. So fuck you, Austin Seibert. Same game, Brandon Aubrey, Mr. Reliable, misses 2 field goals. And guess what? Jay even gets a little catches a stray on this one. Chase McLaughlin missed the PAT. What the hell is going on? The weather is about to turn, folks. And we are about to move out of kicker season. A lot of these outdoor windy places. Maybe tight ends finally start outscoring kickers in fantasy football. You'll love to see it.
Slow down. Whoa. The vulgarity in your voice when you say that. That's not nice. That's not nice at all. Let's see. Jose says, is a good trade for Connor Chase Brown?
Yeah, 100%. I'm making that trade very quickly.
Which side? You're taking Chase
Brown?
On
Chase Brown side.
I'm taking Chase Brown 100.
Connor was awful yesterday. Connor was awful. I can't confirm, but I feel like he picked up an injury, not like a major one, not even enough to like make reports, but I feel like he got a little banged up in the game. Make that trade quickly.
I'm not going to blame the game on James Conner, because, I mean, the whole team for Arizona sucked yesterday for the most part, but 100%. I'm looking right now. I don't see anything.
It might have just been he went off the field for a play and I didn't catch it properly. But like I said, I was watching the game in the background, and I thought I heard him get taken off the field for something. So I'm probably wrong, though.
It's who knows with these NFL coaches, right? Let's see. I've been streaming quarterbacks since the start of this season. I've landed on Bo since the last 2 weeks. I think you're done streaming.
Yeah. Well, week 14, you'll have to stream again. Just you are set for the fantasy playoffs without a doubt, though.
100% agree with that. That's fun.
Yeah, I don't hate having Bo Nix in the anymore.
The fact that it took 2 weeks ago for you to land, and I'm not trying to bust your balls about it. I'm just saying I'm shocked he was still on your waivers.
I was gonna say
2 weeks
that's
ago.
Busting your league mates' balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice job for you. Let's get over to the Morning Mimosas, our new segment. Early morning tingly feeling, something that on the horizon. On the horizon. What's going on, Josh?
I'm going to start with Courtland Sutton because it was about a month ago. It was week 7. It was a Thursday night game, and Courtland Sutton had 0 targets. 0. And it was on the heels of some very disappointing performances. Bo Nix was still trying to find himself. Ryan and I talked about our drop list on the waiver wire show. Courtland Sutton name came up. And we basically said,
if you must,
if you need to, you can drop Courtland Sutton. Well, ever since that 0 target game, since week 8, in 5 games, he has seen 48 targets, is averaging 93.4 receiving yards per game, and is currently the wide receiver 3 in points per game at 20.8. So we're fucking stupid.
Yep.
But also, if you didn't listen to us and just tuned in for the entertainment,
that's why we love you. Stupid.
You're not who we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, who you got?
Heartbreak for me yesterday when I came to the realization I had looked away from the TV, and my wife actually was watching and said, "Oh, that guy for Carolina looks like he's hurt." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And then they reshowed the play. It took me until like 5 minutes in to realize it was Jatavian Sanders. We were fucking robbed. I was so in on Sanders. Josh was giving me a hard time in some league chats yesterday because I went and picked him up everywhere and started him in multiple leagues yesterday. 3 catches on 3 targets for 49 yards in the first half. That was like 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, and they still had the ball. He is going to be so good. I love this kid. I love the chemistry he is building. I think he's going to come into the season as the starter again next year. He kind of got forced into the role. What really sucks, I doubt he is going to play week 13, where they get Gators, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are a great matchup for tight ends. However, they get the Bucs again in week 17. If you are playing the streaming game right now, Jatavian Sanders is the guy, even if he's injured, as long as he doesn't hit the IR, Jatavian Sanders might be worth stashing. I see a lot in this kid's future. He's been getting better and better, and we missed out on what could have been a great game yesterday. And I truly believe they may have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs because the Chiefs cannot cover the tight end. The leading receiver in this game was David Moore with like 86 yards. Jatavian Sanders had 36 minutes into this game, or 26 minutes into this game, rather.
Yeah, the question was asked yesterday in the start sit about Jatavian Sanders. There was multiple questions about do we start him, and every single one was yes, you're starting Jatavian Sanders. One of the responses back was, Tommy Tremble's coming back. Are you even worried about that? And of course, the answer is absolutely.
Would you be worried about Tommy Tremble?
Well, here's
he hasn't done shit since he's
correct.
Been in the league.
Correct, Josh. We all agree that no need to worry about Tommy Tremble. And here's why you don't worry about Tommy Tremble is like Ryan was saying, those 3 targets to Jatavian Sanders was in the first half. Tommy Tremble saw 2 targets the whole fucking game.
Yeah.
After that game, Jatavian Sanders wasn't there. So Tommy Tremble shouldn't even be worried. Exactly. You shouldn't be worried about him, right? That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
But,
I love this.
Yes, he is trembling.
I love our listeners.
Josh, your next guy.
It's Cooper Kupp, man. Misses half the season, it feels like. But this is the stat that I found really interesting. Currently on the season, we talk about how great the running backs have been. Wide receivers, not so much. But there are 2 wide receivers that are currently averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. We know one of them is Jamar Chase because he's been that good. The other is Cooper Kupp.
Crazy.
Since he came back in week 8, he has not scored below 15 fantasy points and has 3 of those games over 20 points.
Do you think Cooper Kupp just retires when Matt Stafford retires? Like, I'm done.
You know what? I would. If I was Cooper Kupp, I would. Like, it's not going to get any better.
Don't damage your legacy at this point.
Cooper Kupp is straight up back. And, like, I was getting a lot of start sits when, with how would the Rams do against this Eagles defense, blah, blah, blah.
You called this, Josh.
And I was like, look, the Eagles defense is good. The Rams offense is going to get theirs. Like, it took a little bit. It really did. But that left side of the Rams offensive line was just getting absolutely abused by Brandon Graham in this game.
Yeah.
And Stafford and McVay, they started to draw up a lot of like quicker passes, like some of these like, bubble screens kind of stuff. And like the moment they start, like they were going downfield to Puka Nacua, they were going to Cooper Kupp. I think he had 8 for 60 in the touchdown. But again, great wide receivers and a pinpoint accurate quarterback. They're going to find their spots against a really good defense. And that's exactly what this offense did. I thought they would actually score more than 20 points, but I mean, still, they got theirs. And it wasn't anything to shake a stick at. Like, Puka had 9 for 117, I think. Stafford had 2 touchdown passes, the one to DeMarcus Robinson. Even Kieran Williams had a rushing touchdown. Like, they're offensive stars for the Rams. They played. They produced. Like, you were not disappointed as a fantasy manager. This is any good defense that they play, you're not sitting Cooper Kupp. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Same thing with Puka Nacua. You cannot sit these guys. Cooper Kupp is all the way back. Be happy about it. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. I love Cooper Kupp. Both of them. Both of those wide receivers were absolutely smashing. You said, I don't think you can sit either one of them. And I'd even say Kyron Williams is somebody you got to throw in there because he's getting, not only is he getting the rushing work, he was getting some of the passing work.
I don't think he's seen a target the last 2 weeks.
He
That's been the kind of concerning thing for Kieran.
Yeah.
Good to see him find the end zone again, though.
Yeah. Last 2 weeks, he hasn't seen a single target. But he has started to fumble the ball a little bit. But this is not about
we got him early.
Kyron Williams. This is about Cooper Kupp, and I believe you are 100% correct. Yeah. Ryan, I want to skip this guy.
Really, I knew you were not going to like seeing this.
I just love that both of Ryan's picks were tight ends. Dreamable tight ends, no less.
Well, and even better, Josh, in the next category, we both have tight ends as well. So.
Ryan, but I'm gonna mute myself as you speak here. Go ahead.
All right, there we go. Don't let your redraft hatred of Noah Gray poison you to the dynasty buy opportunity that I think we have right now. I believe the end is near for Travis Kelce. I've been watching Kelce intently for many years. He does not look the same. Even yesterday, he looks slow. He looks, I'm going to put it bluntly, unathletic. He does not look that good. Kelce is a perfect distraction to get Noah Gray wide the fuck open. Noah Gray looks like the heir apparent. If he takes this job in 2025, he is only 26 years old. Travis Kelce broke out in year 3 with the Chiefs. It's year 5 for Gray next year, but year 3 with the Chiefs at the age of 26 years old. I'm not saying Noah Gray is the next Travis Kelce, but I'm not saying he's not either. 4 catches and 2 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games, and this is just pathetic. After these past 2 games, he is now tied for 4th among all tight ends for touchdowns on the season, which says a lot about tight ends this season. I think Noah Gray...
Trey McBride can't even get 1. What the fuck?
I think Noah Gray is still, even with these games, I think Noah Gray is very cheap in Dynasty right now. And I think he's somebody that you want to go out there and get. I'm seeing the writing when it comes to Travis Kelce. This guy has a whole life off the field. It's not going to be worth getting hurt next season. I think this is going to be the last ride for Travis Kelce, and I think Noah Gray takes that job next year.
I think Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift are fighting. I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
It's got to be what it is. I bet Noah Gray's wife is super nice.
Lord. Oh, my Lord. Stat of the day, 49ers had 16 missed tackles in the first half yesterday, most by any team this year. And then just a side note, the Lions have not allowed a TD in consecutive games for the first time since 1999.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. Yes, absolutely. Let's chill the fuck out. Bad performances, good performances. Which one you got, Josh?
I'm going to start with Chig Okonkwo. Remember when we were hyping this guy up because he was so athletic as a tight end? Well, guess what? He showed that athleticism on a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
But if all you're doing is box score scouting and you see the fact that he had 14 fantasy points, you probably got really excited. That happened on literally 1 catch. He has not scored a touchdown since week 1. This today or yesterday, Sunday, the most receiving yards he's had in a game all season. Oh, by the way, it came on 1 catch. He is averaging a career low 5.5 fantasy points per game. He's not turning the corner. I know we're desperate for tight end production. This is a trap, people.
Hear me out. Chig Okonkwo goes to the Patriots, then goes to the Falcons to back up Kyle
and then
Pitts.
The Dolphins.
And then he's the starter for the Dolphins 4 years from now, and he is the most fantasy relevant tight end.
You see that like it's happened in the past.
He is Jonnu Smith, folks. That is all Chiggy is. I love him. He is Jonnu Smith.
Look, I love Chig Okonkwo too. I don't know why they don't use him more, but yeah, don't fall for this. Great week, but that's it.
Yeah. Ryan, who is your chill the fuck out?
Clearly, I noticed it too, Josh. I'm like, man, I am a very tight end heavy person on today's show. Don't panic on David Njoku. He was still targeted 5 times. He obviously only caught 1 ball in this game. It is not what you wanted in a crucial week 12 game. However, Jameis is doing something Jameis hasn't done in a long time, and that is taking what the defense gives him. This week, they gave him Jerry Jeudy. So we're seeing less of Cedric Tillman. I don't even want to say we're seeing less of David Njoku. 5 targets is a good week for tight ends. And don't forget, 2 weeks ago, this man caught all 9 balls thrown his way. As the games open up, we're going to see more David Njoku, and their last 4 games are technically all plus matchups for tight ends. One of those 4 games is against Pittsburgh, who just obviously shut him down, but they are technically a plus matchup. And that's in week 14. I think he's going to be just fine because defenses after these last 3 weeks are going to now have to shift their focus to paying more attention to Jerry Jeudy, which in turn is going to open things up for David Njoku. Chill the fuck out. He's going to be just fine for your playoff run.
Ryan, this is a different game if he catches that touchdown. He literally hit him in the hands.
Yep.
So,
Ryan, I didn't hear a word you said until you said Jerry Jeudy. That's the 3rd show in a row. Talk about Jerry Jeudy.
What was the comment, Josh, that you saw? It was, or it might have been in our text where Jerry Jeudy performing in the snow. It's the apocalypse or something like that.
I just think it's funny. Everybody talks about, Jameis Winston is throwing, spreading the ball around, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't see before, so he's just throwing it up to anybody. He got LASIK. He's like, he can see now. He can see the whole field.
Who would have thought that in the year 2024, Courtland, Sutton, and Jerry Jeudy would be the talk of November?
Look,
we've always loved Courtland Sutton. It's Jerry
we've always been a pro Courtland Sutton show. I just was also pro Jerry Jeudy and on the wrong side of it. I'm enjoying my moment in the sun right now. Go Jerry.
Ryan, I'm right there with you.
Me and Jay agree on far too many players.
So, but I thought it was funny that during the broadcast on Thursday night, I don't remember if it was Al Michaels or if it was Kurt Herbstreit that brought it up, but it was that one catch that Jeudy made, and one of them said, Russell Wilson standing there going, where was this last year? I just thought that was classic. I thought it was awesome. I dropped it in the chat. What do you need for your Monday miracles? We'll get to talking about the Monday night game with Underdog. Make sure you sign up with the promo code WOFF. Claim your free pick and first-time deposit up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Tonight, Monday Night Football, Baltimore at the Chargers. The spread is Baltimore by 3, over under of 50.5 over there on ESPN Bet. We're going to talk about some of our favorite props. And Josh, sitting at 500, buddy. What's going on? Are you starting to take these things serious or what?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But apparently I'm getting a little cocky with this next pick.
Yes, so. I was going to say. Yep. Get the 500 and watch this, guys. Hey, y'all.
Yeah, right.
This.
Look, I gotta even things out. Okay, I've been on a hot streak. I gotta get back to normal.
This feels like my George Pickens pick.
Yeah, right. I'm taking Quentin Johnston higher, basically an anytime touchdown prop. It's juiced up. It's 1.41. But look, he has scored a touchdown in 3 straight games. But this is really what I love here. Baltimore has allowed 5 receiving touchdowns, 2 wide receivers over the last 4 games. Justin Herbert has thrown 7 touchdowns in the last 4 games. But this is how efficient Quentin Johnston has been this year. He has seen 37 targets and scored 6 touchdowns. He's basically averaging 1 touchdown every 6 targets. They are looking for him in not even just the red zone because he's a yak guy. They're getting him the football in space and letting him do what he does well, which is the opposite of what Kellen Moore was doing with him in Los Angeles. Like, this is primed for Quentin Johnston to come in and do what he wants to do. Like, score touchdowns. Let's go.
Yeah, I do love the Quentin Johnston. We talked about that a little bit yesterday during the start sit thread. My only concern with him is he's like number 1 when it comes to busted coverage. And don't get me wrong, I know Baltimore is horrible on the back end when it comes down to it. I just wonder if he's going to be seeing a little bit more tighter coverage tonight.
I mean, you got to be
that
careful
would
with
require a good secondary.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to be careful with that because you got McConkey to deal with too, and Will Dissly, who Baltimore can't cover tight ends. So
what are you, the tight end whisperer here today?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is. I only have 17 more to go, and I'll name every starter in the league in one show.
Oh Lord, Ryan.
Also, Brock Bowers. No.
Yeah, right.
You are up, Ryan, with your you're sitting at what 5-8 right now. So what do you got?
Yeah. Apparently, I should have went Will Dissly, but I'm going to go Justin Herbert. This one jumped off the page to me. 258.5 passing yards. I'm going to take the higher here. He has come on as a passer over the last month and a half. He's beaten this 258 number in 4 of his last 5 games. And as Josh has alluded to, Baltimore has not been good against quarterbacks or wide receivers or the passing game over their last month. Baltimore has actually given up over 260 yards in 5 of their last 7 games. So unless this turns into some very old Harbaugh kind of matchup, I think we're going to see a lot of passing in this one. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. And I think Justin Herbert over 260 is not going to be a problem as a prop.
Yeah, I love Herbert over 260. But I've got a winning record that I have to uphold here. So I am taking Isaiah Likely over 2.5 or higher than 2.5 catches. He returned last week and immediately had his impact again. 4 catches, 75 yards. He's got 2 catches in 5 straight completed games, and the Chargers allow 6 catches to the tight end position per game. Yes, I know Mark Andrews is there. I get it. But Mark Andrews is seeing between 2 and 5 targets per game on the average. Isaiah Likely's clearly the first read when it comes to the tight end, when it comes to Lamar Jackson. Now, I do love also, Ryan and I have talked about this in the past. I'm not putting this on here, Josh. I'm just saying I like the line. But we've talked about it.
I'm holding it against you if you don't get it.
It's going to smash. So you can count it. I don't care. We like getting these props that you can get on one play. And I do believe 26.5 receiving yards for Isaiah Likely is a easy one.
Yeah, they look for him down the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A couple more of these chat questions, and I did see you, Tyler. I appreciate Josh putting in the chat. We will get to yours as well. I asked the question, what do you need for the Monday night bone or miracle? And Millie Mills jumps in. He says he needs Henry to give him 15. Is Henry getting him 15 tonight?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem at all.
15 in every game. One thing we can all agree on is that you're a 49ers fans. It's time to panic.
I told you all that in the beginning of the season. Nobody wanted to listen to me.
Yeah, it's rough. Good. Tyler says, hey guys, one question. Wait, no one wants to answer questions anymore.
He said he tried to get he tried to get this answered on 6 other shows. Tyler, we never go a show without answering every question. So Club Fantasy has you.
I will say there are some shows like if you sneak in like as we're doing the outro, like yes, we will,
and we still answer it in the chat.
And usually we do, yeah.
So
we're not perfect, but we do try.
Thoughts on McNichols if both don't play?
I mean, if both B-Rob and Austin Eckler are out, then, I mean, you got to at least consider him. It's no different than, with Zamir White out and Alexander Mattison out. Like, you consider Amir Abdullah. It all really just kind of depends on the matchups. The Commanders play – who do the Commanders have this week?
Tennessee.
Tennessee? Okay.
Tennessee? I believe it is.
I mean, Tennessee's typically had a pretty good run defense. Their defense as a whole has kind of been shit, but – I would look at him more as a desperate flex play than anything, but, we'll dig more into the numbers as the week goes on. And, this is probably a better question to answer on Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tyler, it might be a better question for Saturday, but also keep an eye tomorrow at 11 with these guys with the waiver wire because here's the thing with they play Tennessee, but then they're on their bye week, so you may not even need to even worry about McNichols at all.
Well, unless it's next week we're specifically talking about, and then I do think it's mildly interesting because Tennessee can be beaten by running backs. They obviously slowed Joe Mixon down. But we've seen, Rhamondre Stevenson got into the end zone, and as Josh will tell you, that's a miracle. The Detroit running backs killed them. But what I don't like about McNichols is in the games he's played this season, the other running back, because in one of the games, I think Eckler was out, in the other game, Robinson was out. The other running back shifted to the pass catching role. McNichols has 2 catches, I think, this entire season. He's going to be the primary runner, which could be good, but he's likely to cede all of the passing work to Chris Rodriguez. So I think if both running backs are out, McNichols is probably a low-end RB2 that you're kind of praying for a touchdown. I just don't think they're going to use him in the passing game enough to make him fantasy relevant.
I want to bring this up really quick because I just reread what Tyler wrote here. He says, no one answers questions anymore but you. And I completely missed that.
Okay.
So, Tyler, thank you. I appreciate that.
You recognize
we do try to get to every question.
Yep.
Going back to your prop pick, PFF, Johnston leads the NFL in TDs scored versus zone, and Baltimore runs zone 64.5% of the time.
That's a stat right there. I like it.
I like that. Let me be the first to wish everybody this week a happy Thanksgiving. Don't forget you have the Bears, Lions, Giants, Cowboys, Dolphins, Packers on Thanksgiving Day. Just a quick side note. Home teams are 3-11 on Thanksgiving Day over the last 5 years. So keep that in mind.
You can already pencil in the Giants losing to the Cowboys.
I was just going to say that's because Dallas and Detroit sucked the last few years.
Black Friday, you have the Chiefs, the Raiders visiting the Chiefs. Guys, it was a fun show. Great week. Yeah. Great week 12. Hopefully week 13 is just as entertaining as yesterday was.
I want to bring this up really quick, Gator, before you sign off. So most of our loyal listeners that have been with us for several years kind of know that Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving, is typically a week where we don't do a ton of shows. Thanksgiving has always kind of been my favorite holiday, so I've always sort of given everybody the option of whether or not they want to create content. Wednesday being in particular, with no pun intended. But this year, we're going to do a show. The demand is there. Obviously, everybody keeps coming in and supporting us, which we absolutely love. Ryan's not going to be with us on Wednesday because he's taking the time to record the DFS show to drop early on Thursday. But Joe and myself will be there, answer everybody's questions like we always do, preview the week shows, and you'll see us on Saturday as well for Start Sit. So we're doing this for you guys. We love you. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the support over, especially this last year. I think we've more than doubled our subscriber base from this time last year. So hats off to you, and we greatly appreciate you.
Now, Josh, what time are y'all going on Wednesday? Is it going to be 8?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
No, we're at 9 o'clock now. Cleat Dreams, the Women in Fantasy Football show with Kelly and Renee, is kind of switching time slots now with the time changes and stuff. So they're going to head up at 8. I got to find out if they're doing a show this week, just again because of the holiday, but we'll be on at 9 o'clock.
And then no Thursday shows with the Sticky Flex or Dynasty After Party this week. We'll be back the following week.
But we will. We are going to drop the DFS show to cover the Thursday slate. We're going to break it into 2 different segments. We're going to cover the whole Thursday slate and the whole Sunday slate. Now,
on the Thursday slate, are you counting the Friday as well, the Black Friday game? So the 4 games?
I think you can play the Thursday slate as one slate. So we'll probably, you know what? I'll figure out a way to get a Friday, Oh Captain, My Captain into that same show. So I'll add that to the show sheet.
That works. So tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, wiretapped with these 2 guys talking the waivers, getting ahead of your league mates. Trade block tomorrow night with Dusty, Joel, and Hoove, the Dynasty Trade Show. And then, as Josh just brought up, no pun intended, Wednesday at 9. And then we will see what the DFS will come out, Thursday morning, I'm guessing?
Thursday morning, yep.
Thursday morning, okay. Trying to see what else is going on here. Cleat Dreams, if there's a show this week, will be at 9 on Wednesday. 8. Thursday morning, like I said, will be the Oh Captain, My Captain, breaking down the Thursday slate at least, and then Saturday. Are y'all going to do the DFS Academy for Friday?
That's what he was talking about.
That's all. So Thursday is going to cover every
Okay.
game, basically.
All right.
Yep.
And then Saturday start sit different day where Josh and Joe get together and talk about your start sits, answer every single question in the chat. Usually go about 90 minutes. Them two guys, crazy. Ryan wouldn't do 90 minutes by himself.
No, Ryan will not do. Ryan will do 47 minutes, I think, was my record at this point by myself. So.
And then we're done. And then, of course, Monday morning, we are back with Monday's Hangxiety. Don't forget, Britt's waiver wire comes out tomorrow morning.
Nope, Ryan's waiver wire the rest of the season. Yep.
Okay, see, these are the things that you're supposed to do.
I was gonna say, the Thanksgiving week changes everything. So.
Right, yeah, it really does.
No worries. Guys, anything else to add? Well, I do want to say happy Thanksgiving yet again to everybody, including both of you.
I appreciate it. You too, buddy. I hope everyone has a great week. My fantasy season's over, so you guys can beat me, get those free wins.
just clear off your starting lineup.
Just more time for you to focus on helping others, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we are going to get out of here for Ryan, for Josh. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see y'all next week.